Rio de Janeiro au Brésil. From Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, ladies and gentlemen, Fabio Holanda!
My name is Fabio Holanda. I'm Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and I come here to fight.
This is the Fabio Holanda Mastermind Podcast.
Hey, what's up, Coach?
What's up, Max? How are you, man?
I'm very good, thank you. What about you?
Very good. Nice intro when I used to be smaller, you know?
Yeah, lightweight Fabio Holanda.
155, yes.
When's the last time you weighted the 155, Fabio?
Probably at my last lightweight fight, probably. My last two fights, actually, when I had there was 170 already.
Okay.
So what happened was I fought my first, because, I come from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and we don't cut weight, all right? So my first fight was with Thiago Alves in Brazil. And it was at 180, actually.
Okay.
Because was no weight cut, so I fought at 180, and then I came to Canada right after this, and I fought at 170. I fought Jay Hiron in Boston, and I fought Drew Fickett in Vancouver. 1 week after the other, back to back.
All guys that went to the UFC.
Yes, sir. George fought GSP fought Jay Hiron as well. He became a Strikeforce champion too.
Yeah, he did. So you were cutting a lot of weight in MMA.
Not from 170. I was, cutting a little bit. Back in the days, I was never, like can I say, a pro fighter. I was a fighter who was fighting pros, but I think it was more. My fighting career was more to get knowledge for coaching.
Okay, you wanted to be a coach since day one.
Oh, I since I'm a blue belt, I'm coach. I came to Canada to coach.
Okay, cool.
So I had some fights that I was like a corner, like three guys, and fighting after.
So for people that don't know, your coach was Bustamante, if I remember well.
Yes, sir. Murilo Bustamante, former UFC champion, former world champion. He's the founder of Brazilian Top Team in Brazil. So
wow,
I came here.
Because of him, you knew what the UFC was for a long time.
A long time, yes, of course, yes.
Did you have dream to fight in the UFC at first?
Of course. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Who wasn't the fight? That was my dream, of course.
For sure.
Fighting Japan, fighting UFC, fighting Pride. That was always my dream. But back there, it was not like today, I fought like probably 12 times, and I think the fight I got the most money was like $1,000,
Oh, wow. In Montreal or in Brazil?
I fought one in Brazil. I fought Thiago Alves at Pitbull.
Yeah, of course.
That was my first fight in Brazil, and then I moved here, and I fought Boston. And then the rest all in Canada. I fought in Vancouver. I fought in Edmonton twice, Victoriaville, and Montreal. The rest in Montreal.
Do you remember the first time you had to cut a lot of weight?
So the first time, I fought the first three fights at 170.
Yeah.
So what happened was, I fought 180, so I didn't cut weight. Then I came to Canada, I fought at 170, and people was like, oh, you're too small for 170. You got to put weight. So I put 185, and then I was cutting a lot of, like 15 pounds to make to 170.
Yeah.
And I was still smaller for 170. So now, I got to go to 155, but now I'm 185. So now I'm cutting from 185 to 155, and it was always hell.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure that was the thing that got me away from the fighting, because it really drains you. The weight cut, it's a pain in the ass, and it's.
Is there any difference from when you were cutting weight back then to when you see Charles and all your fighters cutting weight now? Is it a big difference of how you do it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. How was it back then? Today the guys, they go in the sauna, they cut like the water weight and everything.
Like crazy, you don't eat. It was like zero knowledge.
Yeah.
We had like zero knowledge, and then doing whatever. We see what the other ones are doing.
Mm-hmm.
but not everybody's the same. Today, like Charles doesn't cut a lot of weight,
No.
and at the same time, they have the whole PI with the diet. Oh man, it's like a walk in the park, you know. It's
Yeah.
like,
And it's not that Charles is a small featherweight. It's just that he's always in shape. Like
yeah,
even when he's not in camp, he's super light, super like very. Charles has a lot of muscle, but he's never like overweight.
100%, and he never drinks neither. So
Yeah.
I've been drinking since I'm 13. So that
Yeah. Yeah, we saw the video of you at your birthday in the cold bath at the gym with all the Heineken and everything.
that's my dream. That's my dream cold bath, you know.
Yeah. The cold bath would be easier if there's always brews like that in it for sure.
100%, yes, sir.
So cutting weight is really what made you go out of fighting actually, and
Yeah, because I always liked to fight. You know, I was a fighter. I was never a big athlete, but I was a big fighter. But all the time you have to fight, you have to lose 30 pounds and not eat, you know, not drink. And back there was zero knowledge, so it was 10 times worse.
yeah.
So it was hard. I think I'm pretty sure that's what drove me away. It started to not be fun anymore.
Of course. After the weigh-in, were you able to gain a lot of weight and hydrate yourself properly, or it was like very not good at all, even after the weigh-in?
No, after the weigh-in, you gain like 30 pounds, and I'm
Wow.
walking to the fight like burpee because I'm full of food and drink. You know? No limit. It's like you eat like a sumo wrestler. You know, you keep eating until you can't no more. It was funny. It was a fun experience.
When
I
you
have to
fought
tell you.
at 155 and when you got in the cage and you gained like 25, 30 pounds, were you like a bigger lightweight, or even there you were like equal to your opponent?
I was big, but not pretty equal. Yeah, not because I was never an athlete. You know, I was never fit, full of muscle like you're talking about Charles. You know, like when I
Yeah.
fought some South for the TKO belt.
Okay.
That was the last time I made 155. You asked before. That was the last time I made 155. And but the weight cut that was easy because I really started before. Was for the belt. I was worried to not make it. I made it 154 actually. And but after this, I stopped fighting for a year. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then something brought me back, and I had 2 more fights at 170.
Okay.
So I broke my hand, and then that was it. So, okay, so
That's it.
that's it.
Who
Keep
was in
coaching.
your
It's funnier.
and you became a very good coach, very well known and everything. Who were your coach back then, Fabio, when you were fighting in Montreal?
Whoever was there, my friend.
Yeah.
Whoever's on my side. I had Stefan Potvin come with me. I had Phil Jalinas, who was the coach at Gama there at the time.
Okay.
I had Patrick Cote on my corner. I have Ben Mireles is one of my black belts in Ottawa. I had George, who was my first boxing coach. And now my last fight, actually, my last 2 fights, I had Ian McKillop, who's now coaching Charles.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started training with Ian for my last 2 fights. And Ian McKillop was with me the last 2 fights. He was there.
Okay, so you know him well now that he's coaching Charles and everything. Everything is cool with that.
Yeah, no, yes. I brought Charles and Corinne to go to, and Louis to see McKillop.
Yeah, it
As I
seems
told them.
it seems like a great gym, a good coach.
Oh man, I think he's an amazing coach because he taught me how to boxing. So that's a very hard thing to do.
Do you still box, Fabio?
Sometimes, no.
No?
I box with my kids at home. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. So who was your first fighter as a coach? Was it Patrick Cote?
No, George, GSP. GSP was before Pat.
But you coached GSP as well?
Oh yeah, before Pat, yeah, I went to GSP to a couple fights, like 4 fights in UFC.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. You were GSP's jiu-jitsu coach.
Yes, sir. I gave him the purple belt.
Wow.
Actually, I came to Montreal the first time was January 2003.
Uh-huh.
So I came to give a seminar, and George was there already.
Okay.
So George was there. A bunch of guys, bunch of the fighters. Christophe Midou was there. Stefan Potvin, Steve Claveau, Firaz was there. Bunch of Firas was my student as well.
Okay.
So what happened then? It was the same week. It was a week before George, his first fight in UFC against Caro Parisian.
Yeah.
And it was funny because George knew about my Kimura, and so was Caro Parisian had a good Kimura. So we drew a lot. Kimura escaped for that fight
Okay.
a week before, and then I went back to Brazil, and then I came back, and then I was in his corner when he fought Matt Hughes, the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went on his corner, and the same night Pat Cote fought Tito Ortiz, but I didn't know Pat because Pat was living in Quebec City.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after this one, George, who else George fought? George fought Jim Miller. I was in his corner against Jim Miller, Frank Triggs. Jim Miller and Frank Triggs, yes. And then, that's it. So he fought more Sean Shark. And then he decided to part away.
Okay.
And then after, he lost to Matt Serra for the belt. And then he called me again. So,
Oh, yeah.
so he was training with me when he beat Koshak, Matt Hughes, and Matt Serra again.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in his corner anymore. I was just training him at the gym.
I know you know these guys well, huh? Matt Serra and the Ray Longo team. You have a good relationship with these guys.
Yeah, because Matt Serra became very good friend with Pat Cote because they did the Ultimate Fighter together, right? They come back.
Mm-hmm.
So they became super close, him, Dim Thomas, and Matt Serra was, so he used to come here all the time to see Pat, and we're very good friends.
Do you remember how you felt the first time you coached the GSP in the UFC? The first time, like you went to the UFC, was it a big feeling for you, or?
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure for me. It's always have fun.
Were you nervous back then for GSP and all these guys?
It's. I'll be honest with you. Charles was asking me a question about fighting as well, right? So same thing with coaching fighting. It was never progress. Like, let's say I'm nervous now, and the next one I'm better, and then I'm better. No, sometimes I'm nervous as you can imagine, and sometimes I'm like cool.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm super nervous, and sometimes lately, to be honest with you, after like I would say a year ago or 2 years ago, maybe. No, a year or so. It's like I'm completely zero nervous. Now it's like I'm like, hey, it's like we do our best. We cannot change.
Okay.
You know,
you just feel more in peace with the whole process and everything, and you did your job, so you know whatever happens, and then as long as you make a good camp, you know you're good.
Pretty much, yes. And we got to have fun, because if you don't enjoy the process, you're not gonna enjoy the end, So
as the jiu-jitsu master you are, was it special for you to coach Charles against Crown Gracie?
Yes, of course, yes. It was special.
Was a Gracie name like a household name back in your days, or?
No, any Gracies, I mean, I'm here because of the Gracies, all right? So of course the fight Gracie is a big thing. But when you go to the fight, it does not matter who's on the other side. It's 2 arms, 2 legs, and we go. But of course, like the Grace family made my business today. Let's say my living, what I mean? I live out of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and of course, without the Gracies, probably that would not be possible, or maybe it would be longer, So of course it's special, but I had like I knew Charles had all the tools to beat him. I had no doubt on that fight.
No, he did good. And it's funny because Charles is known as like a super elite striker, and like he can knock out almost everybody, but lately he submits everyone. So that means that you're doing a good job, Fabio. Is it more special for you when Charles wins by submission, or however the way he wins, you're just happy?
No, I'm happy with the win, of course, 100%. But I always tell him we're in the show business, right? So we go there to finish. A knockout or a submission is for sure more special, because first you might get the bonus, you might get the extra 50 Gs, and people remember the people who submits and finish. Nobody remembers the boring guy who hugs the legs and stay there forever, pushing the cage for 3 rounds. Nobody remember those guys. So I'm like, you die trying, man. You die trying. So yes, of course, it's more special. Not because of the submission. If it was a knockout, it would be the same special for me.
Were you in Pat Cote's corner when he fought Anderson Silva?
Yes, of course, yes.
Was that must have been also a special night because of who was the opponent and like the stakes and everything, like the UFC championship. It was back in 2009, I believe, in Chicago. What do you remember of that week, of that night?
No, it was like, of course, it was special. You're fighting for the title, for the belt.
Yeah.
Actually, I went twice on the title fight. I'll tell you after. But no, of course, it was special. Pat had a long career and an amazing career. He first fight in UFC fights Tito Ortiz, who was the number 1 at the time.
Yeah.
And then he went to the house. He got to come back. We went to the final against Travis Luther. He was supposed to fight Anderson Silva there, but he ended up losing the final of the Ultimate Fighter. So Travis fought Anderson.
Yeah.
And then he got back again. We did the Ultimate Fighter Canada versus Australia. We filmed like 2 months in Saint-Sauveur. It was an awesome experience too.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing time. You learn so much from the fighters, from from everything, from the show business as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, too bad because Pat at the time he was training with Mark De La Grotte as well.
Okay.
For his striking in Boston, and one of the trainees he ended up ripping his knee and tore his ligament. So a month before, so the last month, he didn't want to lose the opportunity to fight Anderson, so he got some injection. That's what happened on the 3rd round. That his knee, just gave up on him, unfortunately.
I remember a story as well of Pat that he told when he was not in the UFC. You brought him to Brazil. Was it in Curitiba? Or I know he fought in the Rumble in the Jungle or something like that in Brazil. And he said it was very intense.
Manaus. It was in Manaus. It was in the jungle, actually.
Yeah. So
we went to
cussing on the cage, just pure cage, and like it was very wild, very pure back there.
Yes, it was. And actually, Bustamante was doing the main event against Dave Mene, who we fought in UFC for the title. It's funny.
Okay.
It was Bustamante's last fight as well.
Oh, wow.
No, we had fun. Cote got like 2 minutes, like he knocked the guy out, and it was a good time for sure.
So the fight was in the jungle, literally.
Literally in the jungle, yes.
Wow.
Yes, humid, hot, but we got it done.
You went back to Brazil with Charles recently. That was a good experience too.
Of course, I went back to my town, see my family, friends and old students. And Charles came along. We're trying to get to train with Patricio and Patrick Pitbull. They're former students. They used to train me when they were kids,
Yeah.
So I know them very well. I called them, but they were in Japan when the same week I was there. So we could not meet them in Natal because I'm from Natal. We were from the same hometown.
Okay.
But no, we had fun. We went to vacation. We trained here and there once or twice per week. We went to vacation. We went to enjoy the sun and the beach and see around. Yeah.
What brought you to Montreal in the first place, Fabio?
What brought me to Montreal? My brother came to Montreal in 1999 to do his master. He was, he graduated university in Brazil, and he came to do his master at HEC.
Yeah.
So he stayed here. He was doing his master and stayed. And one of my good friends came to live with him, and he was training at Gama at the time. So when it was 2003, I was in Rio already. So I called those guys and I said, "Oh, come!" And they're looking for a coach here, and I came straight up to teach there. What's
Gama, Fabio, for the one that doesn't know, just like me?
Gama was the first gym that I came here to train. It was Jalina's Academy Mixed Martial Arts.
So in Montreal?
In Montreal, in downtown. downtown,
Okay.
and so I was teaching with them. They have all like they have Kali, Jet Kundo, they have wrestling, they had everything there. So I was the jiu-jitsu coach
Mm-hmm.
there. They had Muay Thai as well. So I stayed there from 2004 to 2011, and then in 2011 I opened my gym here in downtown Montreal. This
Yes.
one I've been here for 12 years now.
Congratulations, coach. It's an awesome gym that I have the pleasure to go once every week to get a
Thank you, thank
good
you.
striking class, and I can see that people are having fun with the jiu-jitsu as well. So congratulations on that, coach.
I truly believe that life is rough, and if you come to the gym, is to have fun. So
Yeah, no, it
one thing I
shows.
guarantee you is to have fun here.
Yeah, for sure. I can tell I have a lot of fun when I go there. When I talked to you about Pat Cote's championship fight, you said it was the second time, or you went another time for a belt. Was that in the UFC? What did you mean with that?
No, it was in UFC. No, Pat actually was the first time, right? So
Yeah,
what happened? So I fought Thiago Alves in Brazil, right? So
yeah.
after one of my coaches, well, Liborio, he opened the American Top Team.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, the guys called me. He's like, "Oh, Thiago wants to join American Top Team." So they talked to me. I said, "Man, I have no problem. The kid was a nice guy. It was just we just fought each other, you know what I mean?"
The ATT
So
in Florida.
in Florida. So he joined ATT, and I'm a good friend with Dan Lambert, the owner, right? So what happened when he signed to fight George? Dan Lambert called me, and he said because he knew George was training with me, so he asked me if I could coach Thiago against George.
Ay, ay, ay. Did you?
Of course, I did. They paid good.
So you went to Florida for the Tiago's camp?
Yeah, so I went to Florida, and I spent out the 1 week, and then I had to go to Brazil because my father passed away. So 3 weeks before the fight, I went there for another 2 weeks. But then Thiago is asking me to stay another week. And on the last day of camp, he's like, "Man, let's go in my corner." So I said, "Okay, let's go." So UFC 100, I was with Thiago against GSP.
Ay, ay, ay. Was that like hard for you, or it was all good with GSP?
He left the gym, right? So
Yeah, it's fair
business,
game. Yeah,
business,
yeah,
pure
yeah, yeah.
business. No emotions attached.
No, of course. And Firas was on the other way, I believe.
Firaz was there, Loiseau was there, and they all used to train with me too. Yeah.
And were you with Mike Brown?
No, Mike Brown was still fighting at the time. He wasn't
Yeah, it
coach yet.
was. Yeah, of course, of course.
If I remember who was with me, I know Kami, who was a wrestling coach now with he's at Henry Hoof gyms there.
Yeah.
I know he was there. I don't remember who was the other two. I think it was his conditioning coach, Andre. I don't remember the fourth guy. Was
And
UFC
that fight,
100. It was good to be there.
yeah, of course, that fight went to the decision, if I remember well.
That fight went to decision, and George blamed on me to not finish him. So actually, he did a very good publicity, because all the time
Yeah,
was in the radio. He was talking about me.
yeah.
So it was the time I had the most students at the gym.
That was at Gamma or BTT.
No, I was already here. Yeah, BTT
Oh,
already.
nice. And do you remember the first time you saw Charles Jourdain?
First time I saw Charles. Actually, I don't remember first. He remembers first time he saw me because he came to do the belt test here because he used to train with Lee and Beloya, right?
Yes.
So he got his blue belt here at BTT, but because all the affiliators, they bring their students here. So
Yeah.
it's hard to keep track, especially on the blue belts, the first time.
Lee Villeneuve was one of your student?
He still is, yes.
Yeah, still is. Nice. He's one of the
So,
greatest jiu-jitsu guy in Quebec for sure.
yeah, and he was 2-0 in MMA too. He had a hard time to find the opponents back there. So he
Yeah.
just quit.
Very tough guy.
Yeah. And back there was not like today, like everyone knows everything. Like back there, it was hard to find a jiu-jitsu guy, and everyone would be scared of a black belt
Okay.
because they didn't know jiu-jitsu better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so Charles came, and then after Corinne brought Charles and Louis too.
Okay, cool.
Was because they talked to Corinne, and I think it was Louis was fighting in Quebec City the same day as Corinne. So she introduced me to Charles and Louis, and they said they want to come to the gym, blah blah blah. And then Charles showed up here, and that's it.
Charles
The
was
rest is history.
he was it is. Charles was already fighting at the TKO when he came to you.
He was a red fight at TKO, and it was right before he fights Morgan.
That's like in 1 month. That's gonna be 5 years. So it's been like 5 years that you're coaching Charles now.
Yes, he came before Morgan. Yeah, he came before Morgan. He was training for Morgan. He trained with me.
One of the biggest MMA fight in Quebec's history. That was. Do you remember how the hype was before that fight and everything?
Yeah,
That was very
I
big.
remember. Yeah. I could not go on his card on that fight because I had a Disney cruise booked with my family, so I was in Florida for this fight. So then the next fight he fought
Lapillus.
Lapillus. Yeah, this one I was there. Yes.
Okay, so you only
And then
coached
right after he
Charles
went to UFC.
once. Yeah, you only coached him once in TKO and then straight UFC.
Straight to UFC. Yes.
So were you the one? Do you remember when he took the fight like a short notice against Desmond Green?
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling with that? You knew he had to take the fight. That was his ticket for the UFC, right?
Max, I already told Charles and Stefan, his manager, never asked me to opponent to fight because I'll fight anyone, anytime, any day, no camp. So if you're gonna ask me, Charles, you fight this guy, I always gonna say yes. I truly believe in Charles' power to fight anyone. So if you think in his career, I told his manager, you think about the opponent because I don't. I just think in fight.
He really fought everybody because after Desmond Green short notice, you went to Korea with him against Duo Choi.
Yes, sir.
How was that in Korea? Did you like it over there?
One of the best places I've ever been. You know?
Yeah.
I love Japan, and Korea is it's pretty much like it's super close to Japan.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. We went there for 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing time there. Food, we went around, and
That was in
was there with us too.
Yeah, Busan, South Korea, I believe.
Yes, sir. Busan, South Korea. Yeah, it was awesome. Korea is nice. People from Korea is awesome.
Great victory for Charles. I remember I can hear Louis talking to him between the 2 rounds and telling him like he has like 5 minutes to change his life and everything. And he goes out and knock out the Korean Superboy. That was amazing.
So good, yeah. It's actually when he wins, like the camera come on us and we're like this, me and Louis.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was 2 weeks ago. He was in a bar in Argentina, and there was UFC on Fox. I don't remember. And then it was a highlight of the fight, like 1 minute video, boxing, knockouts, knockout, and then boom, and show me and Louis like this.
Yeah, that was great. I remember the fight was in Quebec. It was like 5 or 6 a.m. maybe, and we were all watching that fight. That was amazing.
That was good.
Then
every fight is experience. Everywhere we go is experience. It's like that's what life is about. It to get experience,
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely one in the books. And then he fought André Fili. I believe it was at the beginning of the Apex and everything. Do you remember how that felt the first time you went to the Apex? Super silent, very like blood sport type of environment.
Yeah, that was experience, and I learned from that fight. I still believe that Charles won that fight.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorite Charles fight ever. The one against André Fili is a banger.
And what happened at March 13, we closed the gym, right? Because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then June, March, April, May. So May, Charles said, "Oh, they're offering a fight to fight in the Apex." I said, "Okay, let's go." So we got like 3 guys, Renan, Louis, and Gumby, and we just trained for like 10 days for this fight.
Oh wow!
We trained 10 days, and we went to Vegas. And one thing I made a mistake there that I learned, and I never did it again, because we were talking, it's like, man, whatever gonna coach you, the guy's gonna hear because it's so silent,
Yeah.
Whatever I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna know. And then it's like, oh, I'm gonna try to be quiet. I'm never quiet. So I was quiet, talk to him between rounds, but during the fight I was quiet, which I never am.
No.
And then he told me that he was hearing the other guy, the Phillies coach, and got into his head.
Okay.
So got to his head because like, oh, he started the takedown double leg right. Then he was hesitating to punch because he's worried about the double leg because he's listening to the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, fuck it. So since then, I want to get in everybody else's head, not on the people got in Charles' head.
I can hear you scream during the Burgos fight. Like I have a vivid memory of you talking to Charles during that fight because I was there in New York. So it was one of my best experience. But before that, then you went to Abu Dhabi against Josh Kulibao. How was it for you to go on Fight Island and fight over there?
Oh, Fight Island was another amazing time too.
Yeah, of
we
course.
had the problem we had with Fight Island was we didn't go way early like we did for Troy.
Yeah.
So we just went on the week. All right, we went a week before. Time change and the heat there is different. All right.
Yeah.
But Corinne fought there many times. I used to go all the time with jiu-jitsu, and Louis fought there too. But the problem with Charles was because we had to get into the Abu Dhabi time, but we were fighting at Montreal time.
Yeah.
Right. So all breakfast, restaurants, go in the regular time. So we get there, and then we adapt to the regular time, and then when the fight comes, we gotta fight at like 4 a.m. So, like, we really felt that change of time, but fighting at 4 a.m. But we were already used to the time there, and I still think he did not lose that fight. Another one that I don't think it was a draw. And but he felt the time change. He felt it's very hard to adapt to Abu Dhabi. I think Abu Dhabi is the worst place to adapt and fight there.
If it was possible, would you have gone like 2 weeks just like you did in Korea?
But still, if we go 2 weeks before, we had to fight at Montreal time. That was the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because we are sleeping at 4 a.m. every day. And now we have to fight at 4 a.m.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
We left it there and the sun was right in our face.
Yeah.
So I see when McGregor post when he broke his leg.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, it wasn't my night/day today.
Yeah.
I know how he feels because he was fighting in the morning too. You know what I mean? He was fighting at 5 a.m. over there, 6 a.m. It was hard. When it's time like last one that when Khabib fights there too, Khabib fights on his time there. He doesn't care for pay-per-view here,
Yeah, no, that's right. So when you fight in the morning, do you try to train at this time, or you slept all week long and then only the day of the fight you fight in the morning?
No, we try to train all the time when we're going to fight. But then if we train every day the time we fight, we miss breakfast, we miss lunch, we miss the whole day there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I was out. Like Corinne fought there like 5-6 times. You know what I mean?
Were you in Corinne's corner in UAE Warriors?
All of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And the only time she adapted super well because we were fighting local time. So we adapt to local time and we fight local time. She only lost was to Manon Fiorot, who's fighting for the belt soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember well for sure.
On her last 5 fights, and she submit everybody and lose to Manon, and you know what I mean? She took until the last 10 seconds to the third round.
Yeah. What about Corinne? A crazy situation, huh? She's supposed to fight in Contender Series, but she discovers she's pregnant.
Yes. But Corinne, she had an injury before too, and she fell. We were doing wrestling, and then she got a big concussion, and she was already thinking not fight anymore because of the concussion.
Okay.
But then the opportunity came to Dana White, and it was like, okay, let's go. It's a last try. And then the pregnancy came, so I guess everything was meant to be.
Yeah, So when she got the concussion, she thought about like retiring or not fighting for a while.
Retiring, yeah.
Oh wow.
She thought and retiring, and then it was like just like an accident takedown. You know, she felt head first. Oh,
Here
she
at-
was good. She was
at BTT.
no, at Montreal Wrestling Club.
Okay, you go there when they train there. Do you go there with them?
I used to, but no, I don't go there anymore. I'm very good friend with Victor Zimmerman and David and all my students. They go there. They're always welcome there.
I know we saw the famous picture like a year ago, maybe, of Charles and Georges training there at Montreal Wrestling Club.
Yes, sir.
Were you the one who arranged this meeting?
Yeah, I was the one who sent Charles there. No, George is always there. George never stopped to go Montreal Wrestling Club. He's always wrestling.
Okay.
So if you go train there, there's a good chance that you're going to see George around.
Yeah, I don't even know where that is, the Montreal Wrestling Club.
Is that you know the metros? It's at Ultramont. It's at Ultramont, and I think it's Snowdon Metro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know.
It's
I
at
know where that is.
YMHA. It's inside of the YMHA.
And how was it if we go back to recently, the last Charles win when he submitted Ricardo Ramos? Were you expecting a win that fast? Because we were all expecting a war against Ricardo Ramos.
I didn't. It's funny because I was talking at the day of the fight with Stefan, his manager.
Yeah.
And he texts me like this, Fabio, have a problem. And then I'm like, fuck, someone got injury. Ramos not fight anymore. And then he's like, Charles gonna hurt this kid. And I'm like, I truly believe they're not in the same level.
Stefan said that?
No, I said that to Stefan.
Okay.
He said that Charles gonna hurt him.
And why did he say that?
Because I think Charles is 100 times better than him.
Mm-hmm. The day of the fight, Stefan told you that?
Yeah. He said he's gonna hurt him. I said I know. I said they're not the same level.
Did you tell Charles?
Huh?
Did you tell Charles that you know Charles was 10 times better than Ricardo?
He knew it. I know. I think he's better than everybody, you know.
Yeah.
But if you depend on me, I'm always think my guys are the best in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So don't depend on my opinion. You might get screwed.
So you were not surprised that he submitted him in under 2 minutes?
You didn't see me making a video of myself with my phone?
During the fight? No, I did not.
You didn't see it. You gotta go on my YouTube channel. You're gonna check it out. It's funny.
Of course, I'll check that.
I got my phone here sideways, and I was like, coaching him with the phone facing.
Oh
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yo, that's good content. I'll go look it up for sure. So you said, like, of course, Charles didn't really. It wasn't a draw against Koulibaly. He won. He didn't really lose the fight against Philly, even though he lost a split decision. But one fight I know he won for sure, even though the judges didn't give it to him, is the one against Burgos in New York.
100%. 100%.
Because I told her earlier, I can hear you scream, "Push the knees, Charles, the knees, push the knees," when Burgos had him in the triangle. Like, I'll always remember your voice saying, "Push the knees, Charles."
Yeah. No, I think we even make fun of Charles. Like we say, like, look, you lost to Desmond Green, which was a close fight.
Yeah.
Even when you get out there, it's like, man, if the fight was in Canada, you might get the decision.
Yeah.
And was a 155.
Yeah.
So you lost to Erosa,
Yeah.
which was 150, was a catchweight.
Yeah.
And then Philly, you didn't lose. Burgos, Koulibaly. So, you have a few losses in UFC.
He does, but his record should be something else for sure.
But it's all right. Everything has your time, It's all experience. We are in a marathon.
Exactly. It does. Of course, you'd like to get your show and your win money, but in martial arts, you just go there and just like you say, it's an experience. Like, win or lose, it doesn't really matter at this point.
No, like I always give example of the Masvidal and Nate Diaz. You know what I mean? Tell me 5 besides McGregor, John Jones, Ronda, all those top guys. Who are bigger star than those two?
Yeah, there's none for sure. They're the
That's
top
what
of the
I said.
mountain.
Like I saw once Desmond Green talking, I think it was with Joe Rogan, and he said, "Man, Saturday night is a very competitive night, and you pay a lot of money to watch us to fight. And if you're boring, if we don't put in a show, nobody wants to watch you. Nobody wants to watch you. You won't get paid. You won't get paid. Why do you think Charles is like they love him so much in UFC? He's 27 with 12 fights.
Yeah.
Tell me one boring one.
None. There's none.
Zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you
No.
go finish. If you don't finish, you die trying.
When you first met him for your first TKO fight with him, did you ever thought that he would be like 5 years later it would be at this point? Did you ever like imagine that it could go so far in his career?
Of course. I
saw
do. You
it
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because his skills is easy to learn. Hard is not.
Yeah.
Being in like, you know how many times I can even talk about myself. How many times I see guys like killers in the gym, and then when they go in the cage and they can't perform.
Mm-hmm.
That's the majority, because they're too scared to lose. But like I said, like Kobe Bryant used to say, you gotta love to win way more than you hate to lose. If you hate to lose more than you love to win, you're not going to perform because you're going to be too scared to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I tell Charles all the time is like, man, go. You're way better than this guy and put in a show. The rest is history.
You know if he's going to fight Danny Gay next? Is he going to have a ranked opponent? Do you have anything on that?
No news yet. We don't know. Don't know if he's fighting January in Toronto.
Yeah.
We might know by Saturday, but at this point, I doubt, because we're looking like if you think about Cub Swanson is getting surgery.
Yeah.
Caceres broke his arm last fight. Ige was the only option there on those top 515, and I don't know if UFC likes that matchup. I don't know.
I don't know if you can plug or unplug your mic, Fabio.
Oh, sorry, someone was calling. That's why.
No worries. Now it's good. I talked to Charles last week, and I asked him what was his dream matchup in the UFC, and he said it because I thought it would be Edson Barbosa because he mentioned him a lot, and so he did with Cub Swanson. But he told me it would be Max Holloway, which would be truly amazing. Do you have a dream fight that you like Charles to do in the UFC, or it doesn't really matter for you?
The dream fight is the one he's gonna get his belt. That's the dream fight.
Yeah, so that's the goal for you and Charles. You really want to go for that belt.
Of course. You know what I mean? And I think I believe in time, and Charles, his head is in the right place because he's not only getting skill, he's getting better on his mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, really? Yeah. Even I can see the difference. Like from I met Charles like 3 years ago, and today, like, not that he's totally different, but like you can see that his mind is really at the right place right now.
That's it. He's confident. It's sports is all about confidence. If you're not confident, that you can't perform. Once Abu Saman told me, it was a very good explanation that I agree a lot. Why Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, and you talk about Barão, those guys, they lost the belt, they couldn't perform anymore because they lost their confidence, right? Yeah. So before Anderson would go there and play around, boom, jab here, jab there. Now he's not confident anymore. So now his jab is going halfway. He's not loose anymore. So you lose your confidence and it goes away. And I believe Charles is just gaining his mature, and he's got confident. And I think one of his boxing, he was always striking super good, but he missed some details on his boxing, which he's fixing with Makilov right now. And his grappling, UFC tells you what it is right now. And like I said, we do jiu-jitsu. Just if one day we go to the ground, and then we have to use it, not because we're going to look for it to go to the ground.
No, and he's pretty little when he goes to the ground. Just like when he submitted what's his name again? He made him lost his short. The guy
Well,
Lando
Vanata.
Lando Venata. That was a good submission as well. Why is Charles Guillotine so good, Fabio?
Oh, man, he believes it and he practices a lot. He always did. He got Morgan with it too, right?
Yeah,
So he keeps going because if you're a striker and most of the guys try and take you down, that's the best submissions always available there.
yeah, the
You know what I
striker
mean?
submission for sure.
Tell me one guy in UFC who did not try to take Charles down. You know what I
There's
mean?
not.
They all
No,
say
even
they're good strikers until they got hit. Like Mike
yeah,
Tyson said, everybody got a plan until, you know what I mean? They got punched in the face. Just a second.
yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Max. Just a second.
No worries, Fabio.
I'm trying to get a light going on here. It got better?
Yeah, it's perfect. So Charles is gonna be in the UFC game.
Oh, yes. You got to
Are
be in the game. That would be awesome, man. We
are,
can make
are
some
you
videos.
are you
Fight.
gonna are you gonna be there too, Fabio?
I'm coaching. Yeah, they got me a picture. No, I'm joking.
That would have been great because of course we're gonna have Charles working out, so he's gonna have you in his corner. So I thought maybe we're gonna see Fabio in UFC as well.
They're probably going to make a bald guy there, with a beard.
Yeah, that's cool because your son and like all the kids are gonna be able to play with Charles on PlayStation or whatever. So that's great too.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Does
Yeah.
Charles gives a jiu-jitsu class at your gym sometimes?
No. He just does he just teaches the striking class on Saturday.
And what about Louis? It's been a long time we haven't seen Louis. Last time, obviously, it was a Kimura that he did at Samurai, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And
It's
he
like
told
this
me,
with the guy's shoulder. Yeah.
yeah, he told me they're working on some stuff now. Do you know when we're gonna see Louis back in the cage next time?
Louis, I'll say Louis. We're back and forth with UFC as well,
Yeah,
but they had
stuff.
booked already. The whole year was booked,
Yeah,
and we have the option to wait for next year to go straight to UFC or get another fight this year.
yeah,
And we're probably gonna get a fight this year. We don't know when, December somewhere,
yeah.
or UFC next year, or another fight next year. But we are one fight away from UFC or straight to UFC.
That's good to hear, Fabio.
So soon you're gonna see Lou in action too. The Jourdain Bros.
Yeah, hopefully the best brothers in Quebec for sure, in Canada, and like these two are so good, and I have the pleasure to share the mat with them.
How many other brothers than UFC besides the Diaz brother?
There's two fighting at this card in Sao Paulo, the Bonfim brothers,
Oh, okay.
the Brazilian. But yeah, I know the Jourdains are going to be the next big duo in the UFC.
But then nobody else, no? Those guys are new now too, and
Yeah, there's the Bonfim and there's the Basharat as well.
okay.
The guys from Afghanistan. So you have brothers in Afghanistan, brothers in Brazil, and we're about to have brothers in Canada as well.
They have brothers in Russia, no? They all look the same, no?
Yeah, there's probably they're all cousin, like the Nurmagomedov. They're all related somehow, but they're not brothers.
Yeah.
So at first, Fabio, when I thought we were doing the podcast today, it was because we were supposed to do a breakdown of the Sao Paulo card this weekend, but you told me you didn't want to do it because you did not have time to study the guys, and you didn't want to just talk for talk and don't respect the guy since you don't know really their style.
Yes, that's because sometimes, especially in the last two fights that Charles fought, those guys from Brazil, and I see a lot of guys, even guys that I know, friend of mine's, and guys who work in Brazil with media, and they do the predictions to the fight, but they really don't know Charles. You know what I mean? So, and then they make predictions like halfway through, which like I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
And then piss me off sometimes. Piss me off, just like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Not that I care. Not that I care. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna do, if you're gonna make a comment, when I teach things, when I talk about things that I experience, I'm gonna talk to you things that I know, not things that I don't know. So
no, I love that.
if you don't know why you're going there, if you don't know why you're going.
Yeah,
That's my
no,
plan.
it makes sense. And if you did not have time to study, it was because you're preparing for a jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend, right?
Yes, this Saturday we're doing the Mastermind Cup. We started to do before the pandemic, and then the pandemic came, and then uh, all the BS came, so we had to stop. And then tournaments came back, but they had to wear masks, they had to get vaccine, and I'm against both of it.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for when everything's clear and we could run again. I
So
run one in
you run the Mastermind Cup, Fabio. It's your own cup.
yes, sir. Yes,
Wow, I didn't know that.
that's my tournament. Yeah. So I run one in April in Hawkesbury, Ontario, because in
Yeah,
Quebec was still illegal to do it
yeah,
here. Like you can do drugs here, but you cannot do a sport. It's a very funny
yeah,
province. But now it's back, so we're doing a
yeah,
Saint Pierre Sabono on Saturday, and
yeah. Nice.
that's
Do
it.
you have
This week,
any BTT players are going to be there as well?
of course, probably most of them they're from the BTT.
Wow.
We got a lot of affiliates. We got like about 20 BTTs around in Ontario and in Quebec, and for sure it's going to be a lot of BTT guys. A lot of kids. We got like 100 kids sign up from 5 to 13, and that's how we develop them.
Yeah. So I know when the guys are fighting, let's say Charles is fighting, he's gonna stop like sparring and like working out hard like a good week before the fight. For jiu-jitsu, do you have like all your guys on the mat until the day of the fight? How does it work? Do they stop a little like before the competition? How does that work for jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, we train longer because when Charles was doing the strike and everything, you always have the problem with the cut, right? You don't want to
Yeah,
like happen to Oliveira last time, right? So
yeah,
we don't want this happen. Jiu-jitsu, we take like 3 days before, 2 days. You know what I mean? You cannot get your body too rested as well. You gotta be able to be ready on the weekend.
yeah, for sure. So big tournament for you. Very busy this week, I believe, Fabio. It was an honor to do this with you. We're gonna be back. I hope so. We're gonna have you make a show at least once every 2-3 weeks, maybe. What do you think?
You tell me, and whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
That sounds good. It's been a pleasure, Fabio. So you're gonna have the last word, but what I can tell you is good luck this weekend, and thank you for everything you're doing for me and the guys at the gym for sure.
Thank you, my friend, and it's my pleasure. It's funny
Yeah.
because the other day, the guy was going to a tournament, and one of the black belts in Ontario, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Fab, I wanna thank you very much for everything you did for the BJJ community in Canada."
Nice.
I said, I didn't do for them, I did for myself.
Yeah,
But he said that it spreads to everybody. You know what I mean? I believe if you can help yourself, you help everybody else around you.
for sure, for sure. Well, your smile is always welcome at the gym for sure, Fabio.
That's the secret.
We might have some Portuguese content coming your way as well. I know you told me there's a lot of people in Brazil that wants you to speak in Portuguese. So I might work on mine so I can help you with that as well.
Let's go.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being there, and tune in next week with me and Fabio.
Thank you
All
guys.
right. Bye, Fabio. Have a good tournament.
Thank you, Max.